everyone, it's Fortuna here. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get an update for the next video. Today we are doing a special edition pick a card reading dedicated to Mercury retrograde season. I believe the Mercury retrograde has started from February 26th until March 20th. I'm sure that some of you who click this video are aware of the stereotypes of Mercury retrograde, which has to do with your ex coming back, that your electronics will acting up, or the tendency to get in a car accident. But regardless of the Mercury retrograde stereotypes, today we're going to look into a special spread about Mercury retrograde. So first, I want you to feel the energy of each card and choose the one that's calling for you. So for the cards that are facing down here, you can go after the card that caught your eye first. And then once you choose your pile, you can jump straight into the timestamp given below. So I'll see you at your reading. Hello, if you choose this pile, this reading is for you. So if you are attracted to this pile, the green man is the theme for your Mercury retrograde. So the green man is actually a pagan symbol who encompasses the cycles of life, which is death and rebirth. So he is actually a guardian of the earth and a masculine energy that can be trusted to bring dynamic positive change and new nourishing opportunities. So as you can see here, while his presence can seem very scary and eerie because he emerges from darkness, his eyes are actually glowing with um, glowing with the sunlight, glowing with enlightenment. And then these are essential for helping you with growth. And then while the darkness is actually lush and fertile, this green man actually teaches you that the dark times are essential for the cyclical balance to allow for growth and abundance. So if you are attracted to this pile, it means that your Mercury retrograde season is about opening your heart, especially to the transformation that are becoming your way. And I know that transformation sounds very cliche, but we don't stop growing until we die. We don't stop transforming our life until we die. But the presence of Green Man is very gentle because it reassures that blessing and abundance are unfolding in front of you. And you have to trust and have faith that you will experience a new season of love, growth, and opportunities. This card is also a reassurance that if you have experienced any pain and trauma, you gotta allow yourself to be open to the masculine energy of the green man to support your growth and the renewal of your spirit. Now let's move to what will Mercury retrograde bring into your awareness. So I got the card Page of Cups and these Oracle cards Raconteur. So with Page of Cups and the card Raconteur here is I'm getting that you will come into realization that you are a sensitive person, artistic, and there's an inner child side to you that you can steer towards charging the direction of your life. So basically, I feel like you will come into realization that you can use your intuitive side and creative side into making positive changes in your life. The Page of Cup here is a student who is still learning to read the map while sailing in the sea of emotions. And I think you will be aware of how sensitive you are as a person this Mercury retrograde. And you will explore your feelings more intuitively and creatively, especially when navigating the depth of your emotions. I do see that you will come to be aware that you don't have to be reactive with your emotions and that you can get hold of your emotions. And just like a catalyst, you can transform your emotions to benefit you to push yourself towards moving forward. And I also think you will come to realize that you don't have to wait for the world to change around you, as you can transform yourself and the world will be different. So, this Mercury retrograde, you will learn to use your creativity to shape shift accordingly to the reality that you want to manifest. So, next, how will this Mercury retrograde affect you? I got the card Eight of Swords and Naivety. So, the Eight of Swords is a card about feeling trapped, restricted, and victimized. Hmm. However, as the swords represent intellect and mental, the block is basically it's a mental block instead of an actual trap. So I do think that you have to be aware of your overthinking tendency and any self-imposed limits that you put into yourself, as this could bait you into feeling powerless when you actually have a way and agency to change your situation. And this overthinking tendency can also lead to paralysis analysis that you are unable to take any action, which is why I think the card naivety here came out to help you to come out of the prisoner mentality by cultivating innocence. I see this card as equivalent to the full card in tarot. So by standing on a cliff here, you have to learn to take a leap of faith and jump. So by adopting this attitude, you embrace more trustfulness in a world that is saturated with self-centeredness. And this innocence will help you overcome feeling jaded moving in this world. So naivety is also about feeling is about feeling genuine in your experience and navigating your world with full faith that universe, your guides, your ancestors are taking care of you. And then I do think that this is not about being reckless, but it is more about deep understanding of the cosmic world. So next I asked, what do you need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? I got King of Pentacles and the Stag. So I'm getting that you probably prioritize the physical world more than the spiritual world. There seems to be an extra emphasis on wealth, getting rich quickly from your side, and making more money, that you seem to be ignoring your spiritual purpose in this life. So since Mercury retrograde is a good time for for reflection, I do think you are asked to revisit um, your spiritual purpose in your life. And then, not only that, you are asked to revisit your budget, your long term investment, and reconsider whether you are actually a supportive financial provider in your family or your partner. So, aside from that, because you seem to be the type that focus more on finances, as you seem to always focus on the mundane world, this card is calling for you to focus on your spirituality in a way that I think you are ignoring your spiritual calling. And I think you have to revisit a spiritual practice that you have abandoned, and perhaps you can consider going back to any spiritual practices that you have stopped doing. Perhaps it's journaling, perhaps it's praying to your guides and ancestors, perhaps it's meditating, but it's something about going back to spiritual practices that you are neglecting here. And then, since Mercury retrograde often bring messages from the past, I do see that the Stang suggests messages that comes through dreams and intuitive hunches rather than direct conversation. So instead of focusing all of your effort, energy into making abundance, you have to make sure that you take notes of the messages that you get in your dreams during the Mercury retrograde. Next, I asked what do you need to rework during Mercury retrograde, which is what you need to continue or going back to work again during Mercury retrograde. And I got the Whirl and Harvest Ritual, which both of this card is a powerful combination that involve finalizing a major life cycle that you have been dragging your feet on. And while Mercury retrograde seems to be about fixing small mistake, I do see that for you it's a much deeper working on closure. And then you may think a project, relationship, or phase is done, but I think there's some loose ends here preventing you from moving forward and leveling up. And this card harvest ritual is, for me, is very interesting because this is supposed to be card of death, but it is substituted as harvest ritual. So death is seen as harvesting time. So what it is saying here is that you have to trust the ending of your life, as you will be able to pick up what is right for you by deciding what you can keep and what needs to be cut out from your life. And then I feel like together, this card signifies that if you are stuck having someone who keeps returning to you or an old project resurfing, it is actually a warning. I feel like they come back for you not to be restarted. I feel like it's for you to close the door for good. And alternatively, I feel like if you have been trying your best to leave a situation or workplace, this is a sign for you to focus on closure and you will be able to get your exit. Rest assured that once you work on this closure phase, you will be entering a new phase in your life. So next, I asked what unknown influence you need to be aware of. And I got the card Eight of Wands and Beacon of Fortitude. So currently we have Mars square Uranus. I think it is direct exactly on February 27, but you might still feel the energy, and this energy might make you feel restless and impatient. And I see that the Mercury retrograde will probably have people around you wanting you to move fast, wanting urgent answer from you, wanting you to give like prompt update, wanting you to give like a immediate submission of work at a workplace from you. And you may feel compelled to move fast and get things done rapidly. But I think pulling this for Mercury retrograde can be a warning. And here with Beacon of Fortitude, I think you are advised to ground and connect. And You may be flooded with emails, texts, or important news that may even arrive, but the Oracle card is asking you to pay attention to practical aspects of your life, such as your health, your finances, and home environment. And the inverted triangle here of the Pentacles is a representation to look inward and connect with your own spiritual belief and how you express them in your daily life. So perhaps instead of getting caught up in the urgency of mundane world, it is time for you to explore new ways of connecting with the divine. So these cards combination is a reminder to pace yourself from the external influence that push you to keep moving so that you will not be burned out during Mercury retrograde phase. Lastly, for this spread, I asked what precautions can you take for a smooth Mercury retrograde. I got King of Swords and Gallant. So I do feel that for you, the best precaution during Mercury retrograde is to combine mental discipline with a willingness to heal your communication style, and then to keep things smooth, I think you have to embody King of Swords high standards and logic. What I mean by high standards is that you know how Mercury retrograde can make everything really difficult in a way that there can be miscommunication, there can be missing files, there can be broken item. So this means you have to triple check everything during Mercury retrograde. I think you have to read every email before sending it to ensure that your intent will not be lost in the retrograde glitch. And then I do see that Mercury retrograde can also trigger mental fog for you. So here with the King of Swords, you are advised to use logic to cut through the noise. If an issue regarding an ex or old project resurfaces, you have to address it by being impartial rather than being swept in drama. And the Oracle Guidance here is about working with healing energies. So I do think that the Mercury retrograde is a good time to pause, to focus on the pattern that have been negatively affecting your thoughts and your communication habits. So while the King of Swords energy can be cold, this Gallant energy card is asking you to temper your communication style with communication and diplomacy. So whenever argument occurs, especially during Mercury retrograde, you have to remember that the compassionate way to communicate is for both of you to have a win-win situation rather than one side winning the argument and the other losing the argument. So overall, I think the best way for you to have a smooth Mercury retrograde is to be kind to your thoughts and to be kind to how you speak to yourself. Now let's look at what do you need to do to prevent from burnout during Mercury retrograde. Okay, that's enough. I do think that you have to draw wisdom from your guided angels. Like if you're working with angels like Archangel Michael's or Archangels Raphael, and then you can draw wisdom from working with them. And then basically, I do see that you are currently in the threshold of in between threshold of transforming yourself. And then I also see that you have to work on self-acceptance, but basically like maybe working on glamour magic, like talking to yourself with affirmation in front of the mirror, like dabbling with self-love oil, or working um with love oil. And then I do see that prosperity is coming towards you. And then I do see that you have to keep up uh, upholding yourself with integrity, and then keeping up yourself, surrounding yourself with good people, around friends who support you will be a good way of maintaining yourself from getting into burnout during this Mercury retrograde. And basically, the way that I see it, the work that you have to do is accept that you are in a moment of there will be flow of up and down, and then regardless you have to keep to your own values and reach out to your support system and accept whatever emotions that you are feeling, whether it is positive, negative. Learn to live with it. And then this is a confirmation that you have angels or guides surrounding you, and then you can reach out for them to ask for their help to help you uh, to have a smooth Mercury retrograde ride. So basically, that's all for your reading, Pawan. Please let me know in the comment how does this resonate for you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, pal 2. If you choose this pile, this reading is for you. So your theme for Mercury retrograde is under siege. So the woman in this image is wearing an expression of despair and sadness, finding herself confined underground within a fortress of intertwined roots. So the hole that she dug to plant new dreams now encapsulates her in a self-made prison. So this is an emotional hole we sometimes unintentionally dig, trapping our spirits in a dark sensation of self-imposed limitations. So I feel like this card asks you to acknowledge the walls you have unintentionally built. So by recognizing these limitations, you reclaim the power to dismantle them. So during Mercury retrograde, I do feel that as you reconsider the hole that you are in, you have to treat yourself with compassion. And this card is actually an invitation for you to be gentle with your inner struggles, especially during Mercury retrograde. And then understand that sometimes we build fortresses as a form of self-protection, and this is an opportunity to embrace self-healing and self-love to dismantle all barriers that's keeping you back from flourishing. So for the first question, I asked, what will this Mercury retrograde bring into your awareness? So I got Ace of Pentacles and House of Love. So I think with the card Ace of Pentacles and House of Love, this period will bring you awareness of your own self-worth and what makes you feel secure. So the Ace of Pentacles signifies a new beginning, and basically a new beginning in material, physical, and stable foundations. And during this retrograde, I think you will be evaluating whether the fruits that is growing under the ground truly support your deepest needs for stability. I also see that you are in a phase where you are reviewing your own value by looking at the seeds that you have buried. So even if that you cannot see the roots of your own growth, it is definitely growing deeper than you can see. So you are urged to recognize your own worth, stop underestimating yourself, and ensure that your daily habits meet your self-worth. And House of Love here kind of affirm to me that you will recognize that you deserve affection, security, and partnership. And this Mercury retrograde will make sure that you know that you probably have been settling for less than you deserve, and that you deserve a lot better than what you have been putting yourself through. And overall, I think this period of time you will be renewing how you value yourself. Next, I ask, how will this Mercury retrograde affect you? And I got the card, the Lovers and Midnight Brew. So I see that this may play out differently for different group of people. So the way that I see it is that for those of you who are in a relationship, Mercury retrograde will definitely test your relationship, whether it's your level of commitment, whether it's the way that you do things, whether it's how you communicate. Um, Mercury retrograde will definitely test how you make decision in your relationship. And the Lovers here in this deck is actually a card that represents a deep soul felt connection with someone. And some would even call it finding their soulmate. So even though this card deals with romantic relationship, it actually often goes beyond this level of interpretation. This card actually talks about being vulnerable, allowing yourself to let other people see you for who you truly are. And then this Mercury retrograde actually asks you to break down your walls and trust that the other person will be there for you. And then for me, the Midnight Brew is about alchemizing your partnership to the next level during this season. So it's kind of like, when you are in a game and then when you have to reach the next level and you have to fight that level of basically teaming up with your partner so that you can reach the next level. So that's how this Mercury retrograde will be for you and your partner. But for those of you who are single, the Lovers and a Midnight Brew talk about being affected by choices or decision. I think there is a path that you have to choose and a path that you have to take that will affect your life. A very major decision because the Lovers is actually a major arcana. So eventually this path will somehow transform your life into better or worse. So the way that Mercury are retrograde will affect you is by asking you to make decision that will alchemize your life into a better life. So that's how it is for you, single folks. So next, I asked, what do you need to revisit during this Mercury retrograde? I got Four of Swords and the Oracle card found. So as you can see, the Four of Swords here rests on a rock wall. There is no signs of night that possess them, nor the battleground that require their presence. So the message here is clear. It is time for you to revisit a complete and utter rest from your daily battle. So perhaps you have been working too hard before this, and Mercury retrograde is asking you to slow down. And I think you are probably exhausted and in much needed need of a break. So I think you have to take this as a sign from universe that you have come to the time for a quiet preparation to retreat from a daily grind. So I think Often this is the best way to get relief from stress. And the best way to get relief from stress is to listen to your body. And just like the card found here, I think this card whispers to your weary heart and says that you have to trust that things are happening now in a way that is beneficial for you. And even though sometimes life may seem complex and complicated, I think these two cards are pointing for you to step into the sacred waters of self care within your home. I think you are asked to carve out a sacred space within your dwelling. And then you can also consider engaging in meditative dance, allowing the rhythm to synchronize with your pulse. But whatever it is, you have to allow yourself to be found again. So next, I asked, what do you need to rework during this Mercury retrograde? And I got the card Four of Pentacles and Blessed Resilience. So with these cards, I'm sensing that you may need to be careful with your money during Mercury retrograde, because there may be some unexpected bills that you have to be careful, like some urgent bills to cover urgent care that require money. And whatever it is, the card Four of Pentacles point to the need to plan for the future by making sure that you have all the resources that you need. However, at the same time, there might also be the tendency to place too much value on accumulating material things. So, ironically, you can become owned by the very things that you seek to own. And with the card Blessed Resilient, I want you to remember that no matter how difficult the problem that you may face during Mercury retrograde, especially when it comes to finances, I want you to remember that you can weather the storm. It might be easier to hoard all that you need, it might even feel safer to do so, but you are actually blessed to endure through whatever misfortune thrown at you. Remember to use your resources wisely, as goodness will always prevail in your favor. This is the message that you need to rework during the Mercury retrograde. So next, I asked, what unknown influence do you need to be aware of? And I got the card Five of Wands and Disenchant. So the Five of Wands is a card of competition and strife. So it can also indicate a competition of sorts. If it is a competition, then this energy might stir something inside you, which is a need to rise to the challenge and prove yourself worthy of the prize. Um, if it's something like a competition, it will drive and motivate you to push you through. However, I do think you need to be aware of people provoking you, people causing you discomfort, or the competitive energy that you feel around others to keep proving them right. I think there is a possibility that during Mercury RX that it is easier for you to get into argument, which is why the card Disenchant is here to help you break free from the illusion. And this Oracle card is a reminder that I think you are asked to shield yourself from unwanted energy of distraction and psychic vampires. You do, in fact, have the power to release yourself from falling into the trap of feeling argumentative and competitive with others who would drain your energy. So I think be sure to upgrade your protection during Mercury retrograde and believe that you are always protected by your guides and ancestors. And lastly, I asked, what precautions can you take for a smooth Mercury retrograde? I got Knight King of Cups and pierce the veil. So as you can see here, the King of Cups remains poised and self-controlled despite the heavy wave that at the back and how the ship tilted to one side. So that being said, I think you have to embody the energy of King of Cups. You you possibly have navigated harsher seas before this, so riding the sea or basically controlling your emotion during this time for Mercury retrograde should be something that you are already familiar with. And as a King of Cups, I'm sure that you understand your strengths and weaknesses, and you are actually the master of your emotions. And with the Pierce to Veil card, you are asked to move beyond the illusion. You see, move beyond the illusion to have a smooth Mercury retrograde. So there might be revelations that come now and then during Mercury retrograde that may challenge your perceptions, but ultimately it will lead to a higher understanding of your life purpose. So when you are piercing the veil, you are also working with the air element. So to make the air element as your ally, I see that during this time being, you are asked to keep your opinion to yourself, minimize conflict and confrontation with your external world. Now let's move to the advice from your guides on how you can what can you do to take care of yourself better during Mercury retrograde? Interesting. So I see that personal transformation, psychic conversation, love, and the goddess. So I do see that you have to focus on personal transformation. It is basically a time of personal transformation. I mean, for all of us, Mercury retrograde is a personal transformation time. But for you, it is to work on your psychic conversation, but basically with your partner. Because I see the man and a woman here, man and a woman here, and I think it's more about working together with your partner to be in harmony. If you are ever in an argument with your partner, if you are ever in disagreement with your partner, I think you can take a moment and focus on spiritual practices that will help ground both of you together so that you can work on your conversation and strengthening your love. And I do see that you could be someone who worked with the goddess energy like Aphrodite, Hecate, or Athena, but basically you have to focus on the goddess energy in you, which is the self-care involving like treating yourself as the goddess. Like here, she is bathing in a bathtub, and what you gotta do is to focus more on deepening your spiritual gift, and I think uh, focus more on love, self love, and basically your relationship with your partner during this time of Mercury retrograde. There should be extra care and extra attention for your love relationship during Mercury retrograde so that both of you can go through personal transformation together. So that's it. A message for you, Paltu. Let me know whether it resonates with you in the comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, if you choose poultry, this is your reading. Let's look at your theme of Mercury Retrograde. So, this card is about time for rest and repose. So, spiraling into doubt can even be transfigured into spirals of inspiration. So, the twist and twirl, retrace and flow, you are not grinding your path but forging and expanding it in with strength. So, I do see that you can see past your current predicament and move on in your life with courage. But these cards say first, you must rest. So the symbolism of serpent is that it sheds its skin, and it also embodies the eternal cycle of life and death and rebirth. So it is an eternal dance of transformation to you. In the same way, I do see that the serpent is unburdened from the ticking clock, so you must liberate yourself from the constraints of urgency. So, this period of Mercury retrograde will serve as a period for you to assume stillness, which is a time to gather energy for the next strike at life's opportunities. So, in this serenity, find the power to shed old skin, release unnecessary burden, and emerge renewed and revitalized after the Mercury retrograde ends later. First, let's look at what will this Mercury retrograde bring you into awareness. So I got the card High Priestess and Primordial Passion. So from the card High Priestess, I'm getting the vibe that you are also a highly spiritual person who are at least in tune to their intuition. I do feel that the appearance of this High Priestess card with Primordial Passion is about bringing your spiritual enlightenment in regards to tapping into your creative primordial gift, the ones that you inherited from your ancient ancestor. I also see that while you already have awareness of yourself as someone intuitive, you probably felt rather spiritual compared to normal people. I think you would still feel rather restless, listless, and clueless about using that spiritual gift. So instead of a typical spiritual gift, how you are urged to explore your spiritual gift is to creativity and something primal within you. So I see that there is a creator deep inside you that seek to be awakened, to be channeled. And during this Mercury retrograde, you may be tempted to explore your tools to channel your vision and your dream world. But regardless, I see that these cards as a confirmation that this retrograde season is about you acknowledging how powerful you are as a spiritual artist. So it is probably about time that you became aware that you need to leave your mark in this world. So next, I ask, how will this Mercury retrograde affect you? And we got this justice and bounty of happiness. So, unlike the typical stereotype of Mercury retrograde, I do think that for poultry, the effect of this period will be a lot more positive on you. I think some of you guys might have natal Mercury retrograde, which is why you are not that affected by Mercury retrograde. And I do see that if you have been wrong in the past, this Mercury retrograde will bring retribution and good news to you. For example, if you have been dealing with court case, you may receive the news that you will win court case during this time. Because whatever it is, the justice card informs me that everything will be revealed to you for better or worse. And everything that is hidden will make its way to the surface in true revelation. So whatever that is revealed during this time of period, it will put you in a state of celebration. So I do see that the Mercury retrograde period is a time where you will reap what you sow, as there will be a gift for you to claim. So the universe is telling you to bask in the glow of your achievement and enjoy the beauty of this moment. So I see that how the Mercury retrograde will affect you is asking you to take a break and celebrate yourself. So next, I ask, what do you need to revisit during this Mercury retrograde? So I got the card Knight of Swords and Unguarded. So with these cards, I think you may need to revisit how guarded you are as a person during this Mercury retrograde. So it might seem a little bit different, but I see that you see how this card is unguarded and the Knight of Swords is very guarded with the swords ready to strike. That's how I see the imagery of the cards. So you may be quick to yield your swords to argue using words and logic in order to defend yourself from being hurt. And I do feel like you probably have to depend on to your knowledge and rational thinking by being quick on your feet. But the card Unguarded is urging you to revisit how you can be vulnerable and release the shields that protect you. So the image of the woman lying on the back of a huge bear shows a deep trust and respect for nature. And I think it possibly shows how you should cultivate your relationship with your guides. So I also see that your guides here will nurture and defend you, especially in external environment. So while the Knight of Swords shows that you are quick to be defensive, you are urged to work with your guides by trusting them with your full bare body, allowing them to accept you as who you are. So Unguarded is also an invitation to let yourself be loved and supported by people and situations that seem intimidating and fearful. So next, what do you need to rework during this Mercury retrograde? So I got a card Three of Wands and Power and Might. So as the card Three of Wands is the image of a ship, we are often left to wonder whether the ship is arriving or leaving. So during the Mercury retrograde, you probably need to work on your travel planning time. I think you have to be sure to double check of all the itineraries and your schedules. I also see that you have to claim your authority with the card Power and Might. So whatever that you are making plans during this Mercury retrograde, you have to step into the leadership role. And just like the goat that is often misunderstood, I think you have to allow yourself to shed whatever false image that you have been binded. And I do see that you have to redeem your power that you have by navigating your future plan. And then you have to recognize your worth by acknowledging that your judgment, not your judgment, but by the judgment from others actually echoes their reality. It is not actually your truth. So this card encourage you to cast aside the misunderstanding from others. So I think in doing so, you can rise above the limitation imposed by others' false perception and expand yourself a lot more. So I do see that's how I see how these cards relate. So next, I ask, what unknown influence do you need to be off? So for some reason, I'm sensing guides or ancestor energy that embody the Empress energy, but I'm pretty sure it's an ancestor. So this ancestor might be a nurturing presence in your life. So their role coincides with the mother nature and bringer of life. And they might bring you themes of creator, birther of creativity and abundance. So I do see that this ancestor might be the one who guides you with your primordial passion, because they are the one who guides you to support your creativity, to support you in birthing something from your heart, from your wells of emotion. And then, as an external influence in your life, I think she appears in this spread to inform you that you are always watched over, that you are always taken care of, and then she is always by your side. I think she is also giving you hope that whatever efforts that you put in your life is not in vain, as she is an indicator that an abundant outcome will soon materialize. So, what the card Ancestral Alchemy is about, I think it's pretty clear to me that this feminine guide and ancestor would like to be acknowledged by you. If you haven't been working with guides and ancestor, I see that they want to come forward and give you a message that they are here, they want to work with you. Uh, and this is an invitation to for you to walk alongside with your ancestor, to recognize their influence and wisdom that echoes through time and through you. So I think this is a reminder for you to engage in your own ritual of remembrance, where you can speak to your ancestor, you can ask questions to your ancestor, and you can offer them reverence. So this is, for me, is a sacred card of ancestral calling, and you have the responsibility to spiritually safeguard the future of your bloodline. So last but not least, I asked what precautions can you take for a smooth Mercury retrograde. I got the card Five of Cups and Celestial Queen. So the Five of Cups is a card of loss, regret, and sorrow. So I'm sensing that you are probably overwhelmed by your grief and loss, feeling isolated and alone. However, despite three cups being knocked over, there are still two cups left for you here. So you are reminded that if only you can muster that energy to raise your head, you will see that there is still hope and recovery. So remember that this is all a matter of perspective. I know that it is easier said than done, but and moving on can be difficult, but there will be opportunities for you to move through if you look up. And the card Celestial Queen is also about the stars guiding you. So I do see that all hopes are not lost. This card reminds you that the stars hold a shared history of humanity, connecting us through so many ages, because we are also made of stardust. So, other than that, I also see that you can pay attention to your astrological chart and how the transit may be affecting you. So, the wisdom from learning astrology is that the stars will be able to guide you how to navigate the Mercury retrograde smoothly, especially according to your personal chart. So, you can identify the planetary influences, how they affect you, and I think that way you can plan your day ahead better. Now let's move to the advice from your guides and ancestor on how to reduce burnout during Mercury retrograde. Um, just, I'm just gonna select this card, this card, this card, and this card. Okay, let's see. Past life, beauty, messages, and warrior. So The message from your guides and ancestor here is that I do see that you have a past life that you have to unlock, probably from here. The primordial gift, primordial passion is affecting you in this lifetime now that you have to unlock. Is probably burning you through. It's probably something that you have to explore more, something like a talent from your past life that is coming back in this lifetime that you have to uh, look through and see what is calling out for you. And then this card is about finding the beauty in a mundane world. And then you have to, you see how she's working in front of the computer, wearing all these fancy clothes. I feel like regardless of how you are treating your mundane life, regardless of what you are doing day to day, for each day during Mercury retrograde, you have to find beauty from every single mundane situation. Whether you are drinking water, you can pray over the water. You can always wear, put up some moisturizer, put up some perfume, even if you are at home. So this is how I see you can navigate Mercury retrograde better. And then messages here, I do see that something is awakening inside of you, like you have a guides ancestor waiting for you to channel their messages, especially through art. I think it is something that, because you see how this is shining through here, because this is what is waiting for you, is for you to unlock that medium side of you, a channeler, using creativity to unlock the messages from your guides and ancestor. And then I see that your guides and ancestors see how much of a warrior you are, how much you have been fighting for so long, how strong you are as a person, and they want to give you encouragement that they are with you, that they are close to you, that they will always support you, and that they are here with you. And if only you realize that they are here with you and that you are willing to work with them, they would be more than happy to actually help you. Because basically, the thing with working with guides and ancestor, they still respect our agency, they still respect our personal freedom. They do not step in when we do not consent to working with them. So I think it is up to you whether you want to work with them closer and step into your primordial, creative primordial gift and work alongside with your ancestor. So I see this is a message for you, Paltry. Let me know if you resonate in the comment below. I hope you have a good day. See you in the next video. Goodbye.